the whole game. It
Mhm.
was 42, 42-10.
42-10.
42-10. And again,
Wow.
when we don't win, and I know what's going, I was hearing the game, like I said, in the car, and then the rest of the time was just we were just with my mom. So,
Okay,
but I was hearing bits and pieces. Go ahead.
1 second, you guys. My computer was frozen that entire time. I just hit live and we just went live.
No
I
way.
seen that.
What?
I seen that little thing
No
go.
wonder I couldn't find you on TV. I was like, where is she?
Hey Jen, my computer said we just went live.
Right. Well, thank you for telling me.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that why Sonny called? Sonny's calling me. But
Okay. Thank you, Sonny. I mean,
Saludos, Goat. How you doing?
Oh my
Saludos
God.
to everybody. Sunny Boy, everybody, man.
yeah. Shout out, you guys. My apologies. This was my fault. I have been charging this thing all. I had to watch my language all day with the wrong charger. I was all stressed out. Got started late. We weren't even live.
Oh wow! Hey, rewind. Let's rewind it.
Yeah, rewind. Go ahead. Start over.
Yeah, well, we're gonna try and backtrack a little bit. So, welcome, Sister Denise, House Tattoo,
Everybody.
Pastor Tony. Pastor Tony's gonna
Salud.
bless us with his wife's presence. Hopefully, in a little bit when she gets home, she has a lot of knowledge on some studies in what would you call the topic, Pastor Tony? Like the correct.
Well, she's an Old Testament scholar. She's
Okay.
she's finishing up her PhD Old Testament and theology. She works at both the seminary and Arizona Christian University. So that's her specialty in the Old Testament stuff. And yeah, man, she's my wife. She's the brain. So I thought she can get some input on maybe some history of the stuff going on in Israel, some of the history and how that the dramas biblically.
Because this is a war between this is a war between them for going on for years, man. Yeah, years.
Yeah.
Saludos to everybody in the chat. Drunken Chef, Sinaloa, Machete, Victor, Spanks, Contreras. Saludos to you and your family, carnal.
That's right. And my apologies, guys. I thought we were live this whole time and my computer was frozen.
So let's go. Let's back.
We're gonna get that video. We're gonna play that video again when you're in your nightgown running around in the backyard.
Let me backtrack a little bit.
You're not gonna show them that.
I'm not gonna show, but I'll tell a little bit. Welcome to the Roundtable episode 27, you guys. We appreciate you being here. Just to run it back a little bit because your girl slipped up and didn't press live apparently, or if I did, my computer did me dirty.
I felt like the Groundhog Day.
Right? I was like, why aren't the comments coming in? Dang. But
so back. Go ahead.
I posted a short video, right? I was telling everyone here and for everyone in the comment section, like, you guys always be careful. Look at your videos before you post them. Because in this particular video, I wanted to get these jets, that were flying over the top of the house. I'm house sitting right now, and the jets were really close to the house and very low because the first show right here in San Jose right here in Salinas. Shout out 408 San Jose. And I ran outside. I told Ruby, like, tell me when they're coming. Not that I needed that because I could hear them coming, right? But like, tell me I'm going to run outside and get some footage with my phone. So she's like, Mom, it's coming back. It's coming back. The plane, like that. So I go running outside to get the footage, and this video came out perfect, right? And I got like a good shot of this jet. I'm like, I can't wait to upload it so you guys can see how cool this was. And something just told me to watch it back a couple times. And I did. And this house that I'm house sitting at has a big, like, sliding glass door in the backyard. And I ran out like that because the fence back there is real tall, so I didn't think about it. But I was in my nightgown and I had my braids in still. So I didn't think nothing about it. But when I watched the video back, my reflection was in that sliding glass. So that would have been all bad.
Let's see how Jen looks with the pigtails in her hair.
I thought you were gonna say you hit the door or boom.
I would have rather hit the door than someone. You guys see me like that.
Oh
I think
no, that would have been all bad.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been. So always double check your work.
Yeah.
When you have that feeling to double check something, trust your gut. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sure.
Oh, Machete, I know. I apologize. We've done that before, like once or twice, and it's happened on other channels I've been on. But that's the first time it was stuck that long that I thought we were live. So my apologies. And Machete, check out the short that I just posted if you haven't seen it yet. I stopped by the Harley store in Monterey on Henry Row. Just real quick, like, check that bike out. Hey,
Are those the bikes with the motor?
Hmm?
Your short, is that the bike with the motor on it?
Yeah, it's got a motor at in the Harley shop right there in Monterey on Cannery Row. I wanted to take a picture on it, but in the video, you can see all those signs.
Don't touch, huh? It said don't touch. Yeah.
And you don't want to have any pictures of you in your nightgown on a motorcycle. I get it. Yeah.
That would never go away. Hey, Jojo.
Saludos, Crust. Jojo, ¿qué hubo?
Yes, the goat. You guys hit that thumbs up for us when you come in.
Sinaloa.
I was late pressing that live button, but we got.
Hey, Janet, if you think that F-35 is loud, wait till you hear a B-1 bomber fly over. Because where I'm at, I'm like in the pathway where they fly. And it's so loud, the whole house really shakes, but it doesn't go away like that. You can still hear it from a distance. Like, it's loud as heck. You want to go like this because it's loud, man.
Yeah, well, I can only imagine. This one was bad. Yeah.
We went to the. Sorry, you guys, I can't hear. We went to the air show last couple weekends ago, right? Remember I told you guys last weekend. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, we had to wear earplugs and
earmuffs.
Yeah, it's so loud.
That's right. Oh, shout out Jojo. Machete. Yeah, motorcycles rule. I saw your motorcycles on your IG. That's pretty cool. So let's get started with that. We were just barely jumping into, backtracking and seeing who watched the game, the Niners and Cowboys game, and it looks like most of us missed it. I was running back, and not on purpose, because my family is divided down the middle as far as those two teams. So I missed it because I was cooking, and Denise, you were out with your mom, right? It was her birthday.
We took my mom to brunch, and then we went to her house, kicked back for a little while, but it was just her. It was all her, because I knew that Monday, she was going to be with her sisters and stuff at a casino. So, she had a blast over there, you guys. So I got bits and pieces of the game. Not happy, of course, not happy with Prescott, our quarterback. Yeah. He seems to be doing the same thing he does all the time, pretty much. The score ended up being 10-42. The Niners took that. We barely made the scoreboard like the second quarter. We had a touchdown there, and then it was 3-14, I think, for a while. And then we finally scored, but we didn't, they played a good game. They always play a good game. We always have a hard time with Dak, though. That guy, man. And a few of our good players played.
Yeah.
Parson was there. We had CeeDee Lamb is kind of taking Elliott's place.
Oh, really?
Elliott picked up by I think the Chiefs got him.
Much love.
Yeah, because we dominated the Chiefs the weekend before, right? It was like 34-0 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He looked sad, and even the announcer said he was kind of having a hard time, because that was his first time back at the Cowboys Stadium since he's been gone for this.
Denise, I'm gonna start using that word. We dominated the Ravens the other day, and then we dominated the what is it? What's on his team?
Did you guys win the last game?
The Raiders.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just dominated this Manolo right now.
Dominated.
I thought for some reason I thought you were a Raiders fan.
Heck no! Are you kidding?
The Steelers right there, huh?
That's right.
Yes.
So thank you. Gracias.
Hey, there's another team here You know, there's another team here called the Arizona Cardinals, which beat the Cowboys, I think, a week ago.
Yeah.
But it's not, or 2 weeks ago. Look at the whole point is our teams suck. So, is there any teams that are winning that we're rooting for? Because I don't know.
Cowboys.
Cardinals are like
Steelers.
Cowboys all day.
Steelers. Oh, yeah.
So, Tony, Pastor, you're a fan of the Cardinals then, or what? Or
Yeah,
you
it
don't?
has to be, man. That's the only thing we got going out here, other than the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Phoenix Suns and the Phoenix Mercury and the Coyotes, the hockey team.
I
But yeah,
remember.
when I lived in the Bay Area back in the 80s, back in the golden era of the Bay, when there was no team that wasn't winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so big back then. I remember in '89 watching the World Series, and I'm like, man, all we gotta do is walk across the bridge, and we have a championship World Series. It was the Battle of the Bay, the big earthquake. I remember the whole place shaking, and I'm watching Oakland A's versus the San Francisco Giants, Will Clark versus Ricky Henderson, the Bash Brothers. I remember like being spoiled, like in the 80s and early 90s, the Bay Area was running everything. You know, when I came to Phoenix back in 1990, I never heard of the Phoenix Suns, but that's all they had going over here. Oh, you're old KJ. I'm like, no, I never heard of no KJ. You ever heard of Grayson or Hardaway or Mullen? Like, no. Anyway, all that to say is, yes, I support the Cardinals because they're a local team, but no, we're not playing very well.
No.
We beat Denise's team, so I
Yeah,
guess
'cause we're tired of winning.
We get tired of winning.
Cowboys dominated.
Oh man.
Look, you're not going to get Denise to back down. She's loyal. That's right.
Yeah, man. You can't be a team hopper, man. You can't jump from one team to the other, man. I've been a fan since the '70s for the Steelers, and I'm not going to jump onto the Rams or the Raiders that couldn't find a home. You know, like a horse with no name. You know. And now, no, I won't say nothing about the team.
Sure, I've been a Cowboys fan for mid 80s. I remember because I got one of those big old puffy jackets, cost me like $200. I left it in my car, and somebody check this out. So I was at my mom's. I had this big old jacket, those big jackets that go down your knees. You know.
Yeah.
I remember those. Well, not me, but seeing them.
$100, right? Anyways, I forgot to lock my car.
Oh no.
And they didn't take the CD. You know, I had my CD book in there. They didn't take none of the CDs. They just took. I had a thumper in there, a little thumper rabbit, like plush doll. I had thumper and I had my Cowboys jacket in there. Those are the only two things they took. I was so pissed, you guys. I only got to wear that jacket once.
Hey Denise, I had to send you a picture of a little video of that car, that guy driving that Cowboys car. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I said Denise would like this one. You know.
Where was that out of?
I don't know. I seen it and I said, man, I'm gonna send that to Denise, man.
That was funny. I would drive that car though.
Yeah, I know you would.
Right.
It's a lowrider cowboy car, Jen. I don't know if
Well, I've got to see it. Yeah, I've got to see that. That's funny.
Yeah.
So let's see. So we touched on that. Like, you know, game didn't go as some people wanted, but I do know someone that came up big on their little betting situation. So shout out to them.
How much did they make?
I can't even say because they're
in Hawaii.
No, they're behind bars. They wish they were in Hawaii.
Oh wow.
They did pretty good with their bet. Let's just say that.
That's funny.
Hey, nobody has won. What is it? The mega? What is it? The big lotto?
It's mega, right?
Yeah, it's something billion dollars.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah.
That goes. They pick for what on Wednesdays and Saturdays, I think, right?
I should play, but I don't really play that. Yeah.
There you go. Preston said it's called Powerball.
The Powerball. There you go.
I used to do it. My grandma would always have me go get her tickets for her all the time, and then I just get myself one. You know.
Yeah.
I only get like 3, but
I keep freezing. Do you guys see me freeze?
A little bit, kind of for a second.
But it's good now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know why it's so high is because it's all nationwide now, and even like Hawaii, Puerto Rico, I guess, and so it's it's big pot, man, big money.
Yeah, for sure.
What would you guys do with that? Would you guys
Mm.
would you do like they tell you, get a lawyer, get an accountant, and get all these people, or what
I
would
mean,
you?
you have to if you don't know how to manage money.
Yeah,
I mean, I think I would, only because obviously I've never managed any money like that ever, not even close.
Yeah, that's
But I would definitely make sure my kids are good and my mom and stepdad are good, and
that's right, Banks. 1 million is good enough, huh?
And then obviously pay my tithes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that a lot of folks would be doing a lot better if they just learned a little bit financial management. You know what I mean? I think a lot more gente would be homeowners and stuff. I know I had some family that I feel like, well, I grew up and it felt like everyone was just trying to spend the money faster they can get it in, because it's like everyone's like trying to live for the moment. And and then there's some people that think the long game. And I think if you think the long game, I think you usually end up being better off. And what I mean by long game is, I mean, do I really need this $4, bag
You
of
know what?
rice,
You know what rich dad, poor dad calls that? Doodads. It's because, things that you really don't need, but you go out and buy them, and certain things. I took up that course, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it's interesting, man, to know, but it teaches you financial literacy, and it teaches you how to do things, and I did apply that. And, I bought a house. I had a business, and stuff like that, but things happen in life, man, unfortunate things. But hey, yeah, look at Drunken Chef. It says Rich Dad, Poor Dad is awesome. Good read. Yeah.
You know what? I remember my real dad, he would have that book in his house. He always had that book.
Yeah.
And I have it now from, his things. So I need to read that.
I have the game he came up with, and it basically tells you about investing, stocks, all this stuff, and it's like a real life situation. It's almost like Monopoly, but you have to keep track of your bank account, your investments, your return on investments, and everything like that, And it's an interesting thing, man, but it does help you understand how to do things, It does. Because in high school, what did they teach? Economics, I think back in the days they had.
Yeah, barely.
Yeah. Food. What was it? I don't know. I remember they used to have us cook in there, and
nutrition.
And then you had to pair up with another woman, a girl's spouse. You had to have a spouse. It was a trip, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. I remember that class too. I did have that one at least before I had to exit my high school.
Yeah.
I think that also like being generous, like I think there are periods in your life where you could be generous with your money. I mean, there's times where you can't be generous. Sometimes you have to just take your money and make it into more money, and that way you can be generous for a longer period. We live for the moment, and then we're generous for a moment, and people like that guy, but that guy never has anything because he just gives it away. And it sounds like a sweet thing to do. And if you have one penny, give me. If you only have $5 in your pocket, I get it. That's super sweet, and that's good. That's really cool. But if you get an opportunity, you got to steward your money, and you try to flip it, so that way you'll be able to be generous for a long period or a longer period of time, and more people will be blessed. So there is an element of like, okay, I can be generous with my time, but I can't give you my money right now because I'm trying to make more money with it. But money makes money. And I do think that a lot of people that I love close to me are very generous, but they have no idea how much more they can be generous if they just hunker down for just a season,
Yeah. Like the pastor, tithing and all that other stuff that you're doing, you trust in God, you know what I'm saying? And I learned that when I'm in hard times, I was going through some hard times, but I was listening to the pastor, and he would say, trust in God, still contribute. And even though I was like, hey, I need this, but you do what you do, and his blessings will come. And I've experienced that, man. And it's a good thing,
Yeah, giving to people is always a good thing. But there is a time where, there's codependency. You know what I mean? And then it doesn't become so much of love. It becomes of like a need to give.
Well,
And then
no, I understand what you're saying, about things like that, but I just basically telling you on my experience with the pastor, and tithing and stuff like that, and and he gave me more than what I had, but
Mhm.
there's times where if I don't have it, I don't give because I can't, but it's better to be a giver than not, and
Yeah.
but I learned it's a good thing, man. It's a good thing.
Yeah. You know what is an awful feeling to me? I've always had a hard time with this is when somebody's,
Trina,
it doesn't happen very often, but if somebody straight out asks me for help and I don't have it, it's always such an awkward feeling. And I have a hard time, like, I find myself stressing out, trying to make a way to help them when I don't even have it,
You try
Which,
you to take it upon your shoulders and stuff like that because it shows how your heart is. I there was a time somebody asked me, and I really wish I could have helped them out, and I don't have the finances, so I couldn't. So I just told them straight out. Otherwise, I would have. But you have a right point there too, Pastor, because sometimes people take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? And it becomes a regular thing. But
yeah.
that's when you know what to do.
right.
I think from my opinion, my 2 cents, and I'm going to let it go. Hey, Pastor Leon, my assistant pastor is on here saying hi, Leon.
Hello,
But
Leon.
he's a good guy, man. He's the guy that gets his shirt off his back. That he is working through those principles you're talking about, Brother House. But like, look at me. My perspective is, if you have it, give it. If you don't have it, don't feel bad about it, man. There's a lot of people that do have it and being super selfish, and the other folks that are trying to get it and still want to help people. So the moral of the story is, give from your heart. Jen, if you feel bad about it, it's okay, sister. That's your love in your heart. But you'll have another opportunity, God willing. In the meantime, just be as nice to your neighbor as you possibly can without putting yourself in a bad situation. I saw this movie where the guy was about to give some homeless lady some money, and then as she was chuckling, it was like some water. It was like his last of his water. He was walking in the desert or something, and he's giving the water to this old lady that's like in the desert. She's all sad and all messed up in the face. And then she drinks it, but she spills it on the floor. And then he sees a little tail behind her, kind of going under her little blouse. It was like she was like some type of demon.
Wow.
But he was trying to be generous to this old little lady, and she's like chuckling as like basically she finished his water. And I'm not saying there's any biblical merit to that, but once in a blue moon, it feels like that when you're trying to be super nice to someone, but the enemy will. I mean, look, a guy sees your heart doing the good thing, so it's not a waste. But there is you have someone who wants to finish you off and keep you broke, keep you discouraged. So yeah, you do have to have discernment. You do have to ask God, hey, should I help this person or not? Because it's going to be nonstop need. Even Jesus said, you're always going to have the poor. You know what I mean? So the main thing is, am I spending time with the Lord? Am I being nice to my neighbors the best I can before I start doing extra stuff? Because then you end up in a pickle a lot of the times. That includes family.
Yeah, and I feel like the one situation I'm really thinking of, I think it was for my own protection. Like it happened. I mean, I have had several moments where I don't have it, like many of us. But in that particular moment, I really feel like that was a lesson from God. Like, I didn't have it, and that person who was asking, they really shouldn't have been asking. I feel like it was for other reasons. I really feel in that moment like it was. But
so you already felt that, you knew,
right? I felt it was for something that was not going to benefit them. It was going to be something bad for them. But yeah, for sure.
So God didn't give you discernment.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it was. I know, but that's a good that movie you talked about.
It is a Jesus movie. It's one of the extra. Ewan McGregor. I can't remember the name right now. It came out a few years ago. It's Ewan McGregor. It's like the 40 Days of Jesus in the Desert. And my wife thought it was a little creepy. I always find entertainment out of whatever, whether it's Christian or not. So
yeah, I feel like I would trip out on that too. Buenos Aires, the city 18. So I have a question that was sent in to us for us. And it's a relationship question. I put a little poll out last week and, asking what topics people want to hear on. And honestly, you guys, anyone that's listening now or catches the playback, if you can send us a specific topic or specific question, that would be awesome, because we would love to help you out just with our non-professional advice or opinion, but we've got some experience in life, right?
Yep.
So this was sent in by a female, and she wanted to stay anonymous. So I'm just going to read it rather than, play her message. So she puts, "Hello, Jen and Roundtable. I need some good advice on a long distance relationship. First of all, how can I tell if this guy I'm talking to is really into me or just playing games?" And then I'll go on, but we'll go back to that first question. And then, what are some things I can do to keep things spicy or continue to grow what I believe we could have? So before we get to the spicy, let's see. Hey,
I'm
Jesse.
sorry, but when I see Pastor Tony's expression, it just makes me laugh.
Hey, Alfro needs some help. He's asking, right? He's asking
Oh,
for
man.
some help.
You write that one book, and everyone thinks you're a love guru.
Right?
Oh.
So I don't know. Let's see. Tone. I feel like, okay, first she says long distance relationship. Okay. How can I tell if this guy I'm talking to is really into me or playing games? I mean, for me, I would think, is he making time to contact you? Like, are you getting those, daily calls, text, morning, evening, nothing drastic, but are you having regular contact? Do you feel like there's times where you can't reach that person and it seems, I don't want to make her sound paranoid, like I don't want to give her advice but if it's long distance, I don't know, like you really have to put a lot of thought into it. Is that something you want to do? If you want to invest in that, you need to really talk to that person and be open and be like, is this something we're really doing? And if so, what do you want out of this? And I guess just put your real feelings out there. I guess that's for if it's something real, just put it out there. I don't know. What do you guys think? Denise, what do you think about long distance relationship and how to know if it's real?
I had with my husband, I had that long distance. We were like maybe 3 cities away from each other. And yeah, you gotta know if it's something you want to invest your time in, like, not saying be on the phone, 24/7. Just like I was busy with school and work and watching my sister's kids, and I really didn't have time to be on the phone. It wasn't like we had, cell phones back then. But a good night phone call was always, cool. Oh, by the way, we worked with each other, but we didn't work in the same department.
Oh,
So he was a few departments over. But on lunch we spent lunch together. His homeboy worked with us as well, and so we would all just hang out, at lunchtime and stuff. But yeah, just I would say again, know that your time is being invested in this person, and it's not just going like one way. You both have to invest in it if that's where you want to take it.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
What do you think, Pastor Tony? Long distance relationship.
Did your work?
I had a lot of opinions in I remember there was a guy at my church, rest in peace, Brother Alex Romero. He walked up to me after I got engaged to Michelle, and he said, "Tony, don't ask me for any marital advice. I've been married 8 times." And he started chuckling and walks away. So I'm thinking in my head as a young man, I'm thinking, well, that'd be the greatest guy. He's been married 8 times. But then I'm thinking, well, wait a second. Yeah, he hasn't figured it out yet. That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like that. Like I'm still like trying to figure out how to be the best husband to my wife. You guys, I still haven't washed the dishes, by the way. I remember I went on the wash the dish challenge. What I ended up doing, we ended up getting my girls to start washing dishes. So I've been kind of like, oh yeah, that's kind of like washing the dishes. But anyway, my daughters. But so I'm still working on that. I got to do it. There's a lot of ego involved in things that you don't normally do, you know. And I'm realizing, you know, how powerful I felt peeling a potato. But it was like walking the walk of shame, like a lady in high heels walking at 7 o'clock in the morning, you know, down the road. You know, I felt like that peeling these potatoes, you know, because I felt every time I peeled it, I feel like I know they're wondering, what is Dad doing? What is my husband doing? It felt like I was so ashamed.
Right.
And I should be so proud. There should be something in my heart that says, man, Tony, look at you peeling potatoes. There's something in me. I don't know. Ladies, I don't expect you to understand this. The house, I don't know if you can relate to that. You do something outside your norm that you never do for the family, and it really feels awkward. So I did that. So that was my washing the dishes moment. All that to say to this young lady is pray. If he respects you now, he'll probably respect you if the relationship goes to the next level. We usually know, the man usually knows if this is the one or not. So that means he'll do everything and anything he can to let you know that he thinks you're the one. He'll do whatever is necessary to make you his wife. The whole idea for me in dating is to eventually get married and have holy Christian sex. That's the bottom line. And anything before that, in my opinion, really don't matter. I'm not going to say, yeah, if you're cheating, you're right. You know, maybe call him at 2 o'clock in the morning after you drink a St. Ides and say, what are you doing? No, that's not the type of relationship you want to be in. You want to be in a relationship where he can respect you now, and that includes your body and how he talks to you, and you know, the sexual stuff, all that stuff. If that stuff becomes a conversation before you guys even really take it to the next level of marriage and all that, then you know the goal isn't to wife you or to be to your long-lasting relationship. Is to get in your pants as quick as possible, and then they will just keep on doing that. So I would look out for the sexual conversations. If those are coming in multiple times, or he's asking you to do stuff to demean yourself, I'd say he's probably the wrong guy to be spending your time with. The guy you want to be with is the one that respects you, the one that wants to meet your parents if you have parents, or whoever raised you. That's the kind of guy you want, the guy that wants to know your family. So that would be my 2 cents. I don't know if that helped at all, but those would be the red flags.
I think that's really smart, actually. I think that, definitely. If the conversation goes that route way too fast, and that's all the contact is about, I think that's a red flag.
Yeah, I agree with you, Pastor.
Know you, that's different.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And know how they look like. I dated a girl online.
Oh no!
And it was the wrong girl.
Oh my!
No filters. Is that it?
There was no
filters,
pictures, man. She sent me a picture, and I'm like, "Hey, I thought I was talking to your friend." The worst feeling ever. This girl was so heartbroken. So make sure you have photos, appropriate photos from the get, because that's a hard one to swallow. I had a apologize and everything. It was awkward.
So what you're trying to say? So what you're trying to say, Pastor, is you don't want to have a Friday moment with Janet Jackson. I look like Janet Jackson.
Yeah, poor Smokey, huh?
Exactly.
Right?
Jackson moment.
It happens.
Well, she was Jackson, but I didn't like her like that.
Yeah. How do you think a long distance relationship?
You know, y'all, as third party, I plead the fifth, man. I've had an experience with a long distance relationship, and I promise not to talk about things, you know. So, but as for getting off that part, right? As a person in general, a lot of things come into play in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? So it can be how the person is, like Pastor was saying. You know, if somebody's talking about sex right off the bat, that's a red flag. You know, when you're doing a long distance relationship, you got to see each other often, because otherwise things could happen, or things might be said, or you just get to not know the person. You know, you want to get to know them. So long distance relationships can be a challenge. Okay. But not everybody's the same. You know, you may find two people that are equally yoked, and they'll work out, and they'll come to an agreement where they says, "Hey, let's move in together," or whatever, and make things work out. And I've seen some that worked out, and I've seen some that didn't. You know, but it's not my personal thing. I don't think it's a real good thing. You know. And but like somebody was saying I can't remember who said it. You have to it can't be a one-way thing. Right. It can't be a one-way thing. It has to come from both. You know. Okay. But looking at things, sometimes it's better to not have a long distance relationship. That's how I feel. You know, because
difficult, I think.
You know, things come into play: work, family. You know, whatever else comes along with it, you know. So there's a lot of things to talk about first, you know, and maybe have a relationship with them as a friend, and talk to them and get to know them more before you proceed that way, you know, because when in a relationship, you got to start off slow, man. That's how I feel, you know, because the ones that start quick and things happen, it doesn't last long, you know. Yeah, it doesn't last long.
That's a good point. I feel like if they start fast, they can go down and crash just as fast.
You got to get to know the person, man. You know, they got to, even when you sleep with them and stuff like that, you know, how are they, you know, and you have to get used to a lot of things come into play, you know. Yeah. Oh man, I didn't know this person snores this loud, or you know.
Like what really, there's certain things like you have to take into account, like, is that something that will bother you that bad long term? No? Yeah. It might sound silly at first, but you never know. Like there might be certain things that really do bother certain people.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of things that come into play, but man, I personally, long distance, I'm good.
It's difficult. I think first of all, it's super brave of her, you know, asking, even though, you know, staying anonymous, it's brave of her for reaching out and asking.
Yeah.
I can definitely see how it would be difficult to, you know, is this going to work? Is he for real?
Well, you guys already, I've already said this before, that there's good and bad in every person, in every single one of us. So you gotta watch out for the bad, and then see if you could, like, you know, deal with that. If you can, then more power to you. If you can't, then that's, you know, off the top, that's like a no.
You know how they say opposites attract and stuff like that, you know. But in reality, when it comes down to the long run, you got to have common grounds with each other, you know, or you're going to battle between each other and things ain't going to go right. You know, I strongly believe in space in a relationship, you know, like give that person time to, you know, they could do what they want to do or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's necessary in a relationship, because you can't always be like side by side, like chicle, you know, just
all up on each other. Yeah.
You know, they got to
attract. Are you saying opposites don't attract, or is that?
Well, it's better like to be equally yoked. I mean, you have to you got to have a common ground and like a lot of things that together, you know, because then you say, hey, I want to do that too, you know. And then, but
my husband's patient man. He's very patient.
Yeah.
I have no patience at all.
No,
like I don't.
Yeah.
And well, that's good then, right?
I mean, he puts up with me. Like, I'm not gonna lie. There's times where I'm just like, man, I want to do things and I want it done. And if like he don't move or somebody doesn't do what I asked them to do, like
he brings up the pistol,
like,
easy, Miss Eastwood.
No, even my daughter, like telling him twice is like, come on, I asked you once, like, then I ask you again. And then by the third time, you're telling them like, hey, are you gonna do this, or like it's gonna get done, or
Yeah.
Then the next thing goes, I told you to do it,
Right. But that sounds like, I mean, I respect that. Like, it sounds like your husband and you work together well as far as
he works.
Yeah.
It's been years, and I still don't have patience. And
Hey, does Melvin say yes, dear? Yes, dear.
no, not like that.
No, I know. I'm just messing with it, man. Hey, I met your husband, man. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, and so after all these years, you think that I would learn how to like be patient, but I guess I have a little bit, because I'm not so like.
That's good.
I'm not gonna go crazy if it's not done.
For sure. Most
definitely. And communicate, man. Is good, man. Like, in a relationship, when you argue, talk, man. Just sit down and talk, or take time to walk away and then come back together and talk. And not just put each other down. Just talk and communicate, man. Communicate's important in the relationship, man. Even and it's even more in a long distance one too.
Yeah.
And be careful of the words you choose when you tell somebody something, because they could take it to the heart, and it could be hurtful,
Yeah.
And I always learned that too. Like you don't have to tell somebody what to do. You ask, and there's a big difference in that.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, like if you ask somebody to do something, you're gonna get different. Of course, you're gonna get different results than rather you telling them what to do.
Mm-hmm.
We all grew up like that. We all grew up.
The saying goes, you could catch more bees with honey than what? Yeah. How does that go? How does it go, Jen?
It goes. How do you say you can catch more bees with honey than with what, salt or something like more?
I don't know. There's something I'm forgetting the last part. Yeah.
Yeah. But you get a different reaction. You guys notice that if that's how you get down like that, like if you start changing that, ask them what to
that's true. But I seen some long distance relationships do work, and they came to a thing where they found this midpoint where they're living together, and they made a life, so it's not like it doesn't always turn out that way. It depends on the individuals, because you got to be able to give, and the other person got to give too,
right?
Because you got to come to a common ground, man.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think for her next part, like, it kind of leads into some of what we already said. The last thing she said is, what are some things I can do to keep it spicy? Well, my first thing would be, don't keep it too spicy right off top. Let it be sweet at first. You know what I mean? Let it be sweet as long as you can keep it sweet. Yeah, because I feel like you can probably really build on that. If you have the patience and the tolerance for long distance relationships, you can really make that a very like romantic time. And like, if you're into that, like, like, I don't know, writing to each other and stuff like that, you can build it on something that a lot of people might not have the patience for. Just don't do too much too soon,
Yeah, I mean, romance is that's where romance comes in, and
right.
Go out on dates and just keep your mind busy, because when your mind's not busy, then you could go somewhere else. And
there's nothing spicier than holding out till you get married. Right? You want to talk about spicy now? You want to talk about Betty White? The wedding night. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. There's nothing spicier than keeping it together and saying no until you have a ring on your finger.
There you go.
That's the way God set it up. That's the spiciest thing that worked for me. Mm-hmm. So
in the Hispanic culture, it's like the child is the ring boy to your wedding, your child.
Your 5-year-old.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not going to say that's how it happened with me before I got married to my other ones, my wives, but it's a trip, man, how things work out, man.
Hopefully, like Kyle said, that she doesn't snore, but like she looked like a Darth Vader.
What if your feet
Hey, but you know what? One thing I want to say, And it's just like that song by the Temptations, is beauty is only skin deep, you know. Look at the person's heart, man. Because you know what, you can have a person that's beautiful and everything, and she's gacho, or he's gacho, he's mean, you know. Look out, how's their heart? Are they caring? Are they compassionate? Do they have a good heart, you know, and want good things, you know? Are they a snapper, you know? Are they get mad over every little thing, you know? You gotta really look at the situation, you know. You gotta be, man. Hey, I learned myself is be kind, man. Be kind to one another, and do good things for each other. You know, I'm not afraid to mention that on my previous relationships, I helped them cook, man. You know, I helped them do things that when I see them doing it, I said, you know what, I'm going to help her, you know, or whatever, you know, and because that's how I am, you know, and I don't mind doing it, you know.
And the way.
That's right. And let me see up here. Jesse had mentioned Jesse Bach
about that person.
Oh, hold on, it cut out for a second. What was that, Denise?
If you the way he or she acts towards other people,
yeah,
it's going to show you.
That's a good one too. And Jesse Baca had mentioned, I think on one of his comments back a little bit, and one of you said the same. Are there intentions to meet in person? That's important to know. You know, if there's no talk of meeting in person, then, you know, maybe it's somebody just messing with you in your time.
Yeah.
No. And yeah. And as far as that house, that's a good one too. I mean, you guys would be surprised. You show a girl like she shows up at home and you're doing the dishes. You never know. That could really impress. You know.
Hey, you know what, Jen? I do, like, this is just me because I'm single, right? Yeah. I have to cook for myself. I have to wash dishes. Nobody else is going to do them for me. I have to wash clothes. Nobody's going to do it for me, but I do it, you know. But in the case where you're in a marriage or whatever, in relationship, it's good to do something for that woman, and that woman appreciates it, man. Yeah. She does. And like some of the people say, man, I don't do that for my wife. Hell no, or well, nah, whatever. And I said, you know what? Try it one time, man. It wouldn't hurt, man. You know, spoil them in a way that,
yeah, every couple is different. It's different for everyone.
Yeah, it is. It is.
For sure. I think we gave her some good advice. So she knows who she is. You know, shout out to you, and we're wishing you the best of luck.
Yes.
And blessings. Definitely. And we pray that it's the real thing.
We left out something though.
What's that?
I want to add to that.
Pray together, stay together.
Look up Biz Marquis, the song probably no one's ever heard. You said she's just a friend.
Yeah.
Look up that video that has all the wisdom you need for distant dating right there. That's wisdom crying out from years ago. Usually, like, that seems to be more of the case than the other being a happy ending. So there's there's gonna be a lot of miscommunication with the online dating. So I'm not saying it's not worth it. It could be the best relationship you ever have, but I've heard more bad stories like Biz Marquis than good ones in real life. So I agree with House.
Right. I know. And Cholo Trucker says chales.
I expect that from Cholo Trucker.
Yeah. I hear it. Okay.
Now everybody's different, man. Everybody's relationship is different, you know. But that's just me, you know. I'm being true to who I am, and I do it.
There you go.
And it makes me happy, and it makes the other person happy. So it can't be wrong.
Yeah, you got to do what works for you. That's right.
Exactly.
So I was checking out some current topics, and I think you saw the same one that I did about that issue with the auto industry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, okay, it's in Canada and it's out here, right? I took a little bit of notes because basically one thing I was reading is that Canada did resolve their strike as of, I think it was Monday at 11:50 something PM or whatever, you know. But in the United States, it's still going on, you know, and it affects a lot of things, man. And, it disrupts a lot of things in the country. Like, what? Let's see. If you're going to purchase a car, is it going to be, the right time? Because it's going to be expensive. Are you going to get your car on time? All these things come into play because of the suppliers. You know what I'm saying? Everything's going to be on hold. Nobody's working, nobody's producing engines. And so they were saying, I got a note here that about they work by the time, just in time chain system, okay, for delivery. So, that's going to disrupt everything. It could get into affecting employees, how they're going to work. Are they going to lose work because the line's not moving? They're going to have to lay some people off. So it could affect some jobs, prices are going to increase, what consumer impact, everything, it's going to be pretty bad. But I know that Canada came to a tentative agreement, but United States hasn't. And I think one of the truck builders, Mac, if I'm correct, they turned down their offer, so it's been on 4 weeks. It's going on 4 weeks now, so if you're going to buy a car, you're going to feel it, and as for parts, expect a long wait,
Right.
Expect a long wait for something,
Yeah. So the car motor industry is on strike. Yeah.
Yeah.
4 weeks already. And I had heard that somebody was having some difficulty getting parts already. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can get it worked out. That's right. Chris is. OG Scotty is in Canada.
Yeah, and they're fighting for a good cause, though. I mean, because you know what, the real top of the top guys are getting their money, but they got to get compensated. The people that are working, the backbone of the company, the ones that are working those long hours and stuff, better medical, better wages, like I think they were talking about like a 50% or 40% raise within a 4-year period, Yeah. So different ones are negotiating different things,
Right.
It depends on, but there's a lot of companies right now that are striking. So
I feel like that's happening in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Even right here where my kids' school district, I don't know, they haven't officially told us anything, but you know how you see the difference, like school buses aren't showing up. This is every day. Something's going on. At first it was just like 1 or 2 buses. Now it's like every bus is not showing up, and they're still telling us, which I take my little one and pick her up, so it doesn't affect her necessarily, but when I go to pick her up and drop her off, there's a ton of traffic now, and they've got like highway patrol there directing it and everything. It's that much traffic flow.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have heard whispers that, the bus drivers are, trying to get some things put in place that they're wanting.
Yeah, there's a lot of holds on parts and stuff like that, and then again, things are going to be sitting in there, you know what I'm saying? And things are going to be just sitting, and so people are going to possibly lose their jobs if they don't come to an agreement,
Yeah.
Because even after the fact, after they reach an agreement, it's still going to continue, Yeah. Like over here, even not to get off that subject, but Kaiser Hospital was
We're just gonna mention
striking. Yeah. And it's sad to see because my brother-in-law is in the hospital with cancer, and they're bringing them lunch bags and stuff, and this and that. And people, it's crazy, man. But right now, the big corporations are really making bank. But they're not kicking it down to the other people, But then there's another thing. They're being taxed also. You know what I'm saying? Biden's taxing them. So the big companies, so what happens? They got I won't say that word, but rolls downhill, They're gonna get out they'll give you less food and they'll charge you more,
Right.
And that's what they're doing to try to make it to where they could still have that big profit.
Yeah, they're going to compensate it somehow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, it's just something to, it's a good piece of info that House had right there, because a lot of us, might be affected by auto parts we're trying to get or things like that. And just keeping you guys.
That's why you get a bomb and with the straight six, no electrical
Right?
computers, and you get in there and you drive.
If you can get one, yeah. If you can get one, that's the way to
Yeah,
go. For real.
but those are expensive now. Damn, I cannot believe the prices on those.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to come by now, but if you have one, hold on to it.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Like definitely what I would do if I had one, for sure. But let's move into a little more serious topic. And like I had mentioned at the beginning, we're not professional. What's that?
She's frozen.
Oh,
I think she froze.
Oh, okay.
Can you guys hear me though?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
I don't know why this internet. I gotta pay my bill.
Professional newscasters or whatever, but we're just going to speak on, what we do feel and know, and our opinions. And I'm sure everyone out there is seeing what's going on. We're going to be careful with certain words that we use, though, just so we don't get flagged. You guys have, I'm sure, all seen what's going on in Israel, and it's pretty much everywhere. So we obviously feel like we have to mention it and bring it up, not to be a downer, but this is part of reality, what's going on in the world. And, we want to speak openly with you guys and talk about what we've seen. I've seen some pretty horrific topics. As far as, obviously, there was, I'll just try to lay it out there as simple as possible. There was a few days ago an attack from a group called, I'll just say group, you guys know what I mean. It goes by Hamas. And many people were kidnapped, killed. I believe thousands of missiles were shot off in that area that's been fought over for a long time. I think it's Gaza, right?
Gaza Strip.
Yeah, and there was even a music festival somewhere over there in that area, and a lot of young women were kidnapped and taken and are being held. And today, I mean, I can't even bring myself to say the word. I wouldn't anyways, but I had read and heard on several news stations that 40 infants were found, unalived. And like I said, I can't even go into how they said that took place because it's just too much.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's been a hot spot there for a long time, and it's worldly political reasons, but it's also very biblical in that area.
I was just going to say that.
Pastor Tony, can you hear what we're talking about right now?
Yeah. I was just my wife was just setting the kids up.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I heard everything you said. If you guys want to start, Michelle will be over.
All right.
But yeah, that's heavy stuff. If people don't feel that, then I don't know. Maybe watching the wrong channel. That is heavy stuff.
Yeah. You know what I experienced out here? A new guy, the store owner I used to know down the street here, and we used to chop it up all the time. He was a Korean guy, right? Anyways, got new ownership, and he's Palestinian. And when I walked in there and I talked to him, and I never seen so much hatred towards Israel that he had, man. And I was like, wow, I seen that, and it's like, so it's real. It's real, man. It's real. Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
This is my wife, guys. I give you guys permission to call her Dr. Paleo.
Dr. Paleo, nice to meet you.
Hello, Dr. Paleo. Hi.
Humble lady I married here 17 years ago. So yeah, Michelle, this is the crew around table. Michelle is our Old Testament scholar that Jen asked. It was a privilege to have on here. So right now we're talking about what's going on. How did you want to do it, Jen? Like, did you want to talk a little bit, a real quick summary where some of this stuff started?
Maybe if we could, yeah, if we could sort of just give people a little bit of a background. So a lot of people don't realize, I mean, I'm not even completely sure on how the tensions, started in that area, but a lot of people have no clue at all. So maybe if we can give people a little history on that.
Well, about 100 years ago, the whole area was owned by Britain, and they said, wouldn't it be great if the Jewish people lived back in Jerusalem? So Jewish people started to go back into that area, and after World War II, especially after the Holocaust, the survivors, a lot of Jewish people went to the land, and they had but there were people living there, just like here, just like in the United States. Europeans came over here. Well, it wasn't empty land. There were already people here. So that whole region was primarily Muslim, and Jewish people started coming, and they just kept coming, and so obviously there's going to be tension there. There were wars. The United States has always pretty much supported Israel, supported and provided them with a lot of military assistance to be there. But it's been tension, for what is that, like 80 years now? There's just constantly been tension because there's more people wanting to live in that same land.
Okay, got it.
So that's 100 years. We're talking now. I also mentioned earlier about this being going on for you could say thousands of years.
Yeah.
It goes back to Genesis with Abraham. They call it the Abrahamic covenant. And like in Genesis chapter 12, Abraham, that song you guys just learned at church, Father Abraham had many sons had father. Okay, so there are three major religious groups. I won't name them. I'll have to, it's for sensitivity, but there are three major religious groups that came out of that whole Genesis account. And the first one is Genesis 12. I'll read it. It says in Genesis 12, verse 3, it says, "And I will bless them and bless thee, and curseth thee, and it shall all families of the earth will be blessed." So the emphasis, sorry, it's like a King James version, but basically God tells Abraham, all the families, everyone on the planet is going to be blessed by you, Abraham. So that was way early, man. The first 12 chapters of Genesis, of the Old Testament. So that all encompasses not just one particular group. God saying, I'm going to use this people group, and the whole planet is going to be blessed by it. So that is they call that the Abrahamic covenant. That's talking about the Messiah, the Savior, coming through those people. That's how everyone is included. That's how me and House and Jen and Denise got in the mix. That's why we don't have to be Jewish to be having that favor, because God made this promise way back in the beginning that the whole planet was going to be blessed, and that was that whole God planning to have a Savior for us, thousands of years in the future. And so that's what happens. That's the Abrahamic covenant. Now, 4 chapters later, there was this birth of another son, not Isaac, but Ishmael. Ishmael was the first son that Abraham had with his maidservant Hagar. They had a baby.
So Abraham gets this promise from God that he's going to have a great nation, but his wife isn't having any children. And so she has and this was a custom in that time. If a woman was barren, it was the custom that, her husband would have children through her servant. So that's what she offers. She says, here's my servant. And so Abraham has a child. He has a child named Ishmael. But when we look at that, what happened is God didn't tell them to do that. God didn't say to do it that way. God wanted them to wait, but they tried to do it in their own strength and their human understanding. They were trying to help God fulfill his promises. And in doing so, Abraham had this child Ishmael, and later God came back and he said, no, that's not the child of the promise. you will have your wife is going to have a child, and that became Isaac.
Yeah.
But because of that, what we see later, when Ishmael's born, or before he's even born, God says that he's going to be against all these people. And
there's the tension, these two sons of Abraham. Okay, go ahead.
The Bible doesn't explicitly say this, but tradition is that the Muslim faith, the Muslims believe to be descended from Ishmael.
Right. Okay. That makes
that is the tension. It goes all the way back to that. Okay. Now here's the thing. The Messiah came for everyone. Everyone, including Ishmael, including everyone on the planet. We read here the Abrahamic covenant, all the families on the planet. It doesn't divide. So everyone who believes in Savior Jesus Christ has an opportunity to be free, have redemption from their sins and whatnot. But yeah, there's this tension going on in the Middle East going on. So you can say since the beginning of history, almost of biblical history, it's always been this tension. Now, what bothers me, okay, I'm gonna go a little bit over here, and I'm trying to be as sensitive as possible. What bothers me is that everyone who believes in the Christian view supposed to be everything's supposed to be cool. We're cool with Jesus, but there are people in other groups who are fighting right now in Israel who are not cool with Jesus, but people feel like we gotta back them anyway, even though they're not cool with Jesus. That's the part I don't get. Like God's people are gonna be all right. I think that but I think that there's a lot of fear mongering going out there. People saying, okay, this is end times. Absolutely end times. It's been end times since Jesus rose from the dead. Okay? Jesus paid for it. The curtain split in half. It was that religion and all that we needed. Jesus paid the price and paid for anyone who needs to be free from their sins. They can go to heaven. They can meet with the Lord. So the end time has begun 2,000 years ago when Jesus rose from the dead. Now everyone has the opportunity to be right with God because of what Jesus did. So it's been end times. The first century, everyone thought it was end time. Everyone thought Jesus was going to come right back. So they were selling everything. They were giving it all away. Some of them were even getting jobs. No one was working. Like, hey, man, you guys got to work. If you read the Bible, it sounds like a bunch of lazy people. And they're like, hey, go work, man. Like, oh, wait for the Lord to return any moment. Like, no, man, go work. If a man should not work, neither shall he eat. You go get a job and you keep on. And so they were giving everything away. It was a real big deal. But now we're 2,000 years later, and all of a sudden people are like scared again. Like, hey, you should have been scared for the last 2,000 years. The good news is, fine. The Lord's given us an opportunity. If you're worried about end times, yes, we're in the end times. Believe in Jesus Christ. Trust the Lord, man. He'll free you from your sin. You don't have to be afraid of death. But my thing is, pray for the Palestinians, pray for the Israelis, pray for the people in the Congo, pray for the people in North Korea, pray for the people in China. We all need the Lord. If these are God's people, God got their back. Don't have to flex so hard. House, the Lord loves them more than you do. But we do. We are called to love our neighbors and we don't fight with this. We don't fight with missiles. We fight with this prayer, humility. We fight with denying ourselves food occasionally. These the weapons of our warfare are not of this earth. So I heard a guy really ticked me off a little bit. I don't want to say his name or anything, but he said that that people group who bombed that area were over the years they let them come into their area, and over the years they just accumulated a plan, and that's how they were able to attack them within or something like that. And then he contrasts that with our American border. I'm like, what? Does everything gotta be political, man? Can it just be the devil and God? Does it have to always be political? So I'd say yes and no, but God is bigger than our borders, man. Anyway, I'm gonna stop right now before I get myself in trouble. I'll let my wife or anyone else take over, but I just thought that was a little bit insane. Like, we believe in God, but we fight with these all day long. What the
And it goes
heck?
back to that whole origin of trying to do things in our own strength versus trusting in God. And
We go back to doing things in our own strength, like Abraham did with his lady and his other lady.
Perfect point.
You got a point there, and not only that, it's a spiritual warfare, and when you understand that, through prayer is how you fight. You made a good point about that. It's not about the fist. Some people think it's about the fist, and it's not. Because and you have to pray for your enemies also. You have to do all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
that really does trigger that same thing you had said, Michelle, is, rather than trusting God's word, they tried to sort of help him, and have the child through the helpmate. And I feel like I'm so heartbroken hearing all of what's going on right now. And I mean, I know you guys feel the same. Like our hearts go out to everyone affected. But it's traumatizing to hear these things, and I don't know how to be gentle with, I want everyone to know that the Lord is there for them, and it's just a matter of, I don't really know how to explain it. I try to be sensitive to people's feelings, and I don't want to upset people with different beliefs, but I also want to offer the gospel. So I sometimes find it hard to, you know what I mean, translate that.
What like it says in the Bible, like some people will accept it and some people won't. What do? You dust the bottom of your feet off and go to the next person. But you plant a seed and you still pray for them. And I don't know. I've the more closer you become to God, the more peaceful you become, the more kinder you become, the more joyous you become. And that's how I feel. But if you're not, how would I say? When you're of this world, you don't have that peace. You strive for other things. You go for money and all this. And money's necessary in this world today. Don't get me wrong. But God's blessings will come upon you, But it's like you gotta have that spiritual you gotta have that Holy Spirit within you. There you go. The Holy Spirit within you is basically, so discernment, and you pray, because that's very important, man. That's important. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good question, Machete. So is religion practiced in politics? I don't know that it's necessarily like outwardly practiced, but I feel like they always sort of like coincide, right?
My wife's boss slash. Want to show that?
My advisor is an archaeologist, so he's spends time in Israel. And a few days ago, he had sent out an email because a friend of his had been kidnapped. A young mother and her 2 children were kidnapped. She was able to get them to leave her kids at the border, at the Gaza border. And so we've been praying for her. And just tonight, actually, right when this show was going live, I received an email that her body was found. And so she was killed. So it's just it's not someone I know, but it's that connection. But that's what I was talking to my kids about it on the drive home. I was telling them about that. And, that's war. That's war. All war. There's war in Ukraine. There's war in the Middle East. That there's going to be lives lost.
So this is her boss, and her mentor has a friend that was found dead out there, and that we're praying for. So this is like, I hear this guy's voice talking to my wife and speaking life to my wife, because he's her boss and he's also her professor. And I hear his voice, and then just to hear him, tell my, send out the message that, my friend in Israel, my female friend was murdered, that's heavy, man. Like, that's too close to home for us, because we hurt for him, because that was his friend. He's over trying to do God's work, and then he's in the middle of this, it's just, man, there's no winners in this, man. That's why we have to find comfort in the Lord. We have to believe that God is in control, And if you don't know Jesus, it's now is the day. No more playing around. Cry out to the Lord, man. We don't know how much time we have left on this planet. It could be another 1,000 years. It could be 100 hours. You know, we don't know. But it's time. It's time to cry out to the Lord. If you're fighting against that you don't think there's a God, cry out to Him. I dare you. Say, Jesus, if you're real, show me. I need some help here. I can't trust in myself. There's no future in myself. Lord, reveal yourself to me. Open my eyes. And I believe God will, man. I believe He will. It might not always be perfect and peaches and herb, but I guarantee you, no one will be alone.
And you know, one thing is I learned is everybody grows. Like when I became a Christian, you know, I everybody grows at different paces, you know, and how much you really get in the Bible and study the Bible and learn, you know. Uh, but yeah, God can do wonderful things in people's life, man. You know, I know He's done good things for me. He saved many times. I shouldn't be here, really, to be truthful to you, you know, but I'm still here. But He uses me, and I thank Him for that, because I do. Okay, let's see, it's not my will; it's His will be done, you know. So whatever I do is for Him. All glory is His, you know, and that's how I see it, you know, and it's a blessing.
Absolutely. That's another good one, Machete. I mean, I feel like I know what that means, but what is the purpose of putting your hand on the Bible before testifying? I feel like you're basically swearing your truth before God, right? Like,
yeah. Hey, Verone White.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I did a video with Verone White. He had a testimony on there. If you guys ever get a chance, I just put it out earlier. He was robbing ATMs, and the lady that he was robbing in the back seat said, I don't know why you're doing this. God has a plan for you.
I've seen that.
And he's like with a gun, he's like, yeah. I time in the joint, like 20 plus years, but he tells a story. He's been a good friend and good encouragement.
That's awesome. You have that on your channel?
Yeah, I seen that today, Pastor. Then I seen the one of Cholo Trucker today also.
Everyone got to go to Cholo Trucker. You got all the views.
Yeah. But yeah, I seen that one. How's the trip? Saludos, Big D. Big D.
Go ahead, Michelle.
When, we're talking about Israel, we're talking about the religion that God established originally, and the way I see it, the big picture is God wants to have a relationship with us, and so He reached out to one person, Abraham, and He had a covenant. He entered into a relationship with him, and through those people, He needed to do that, and He started a relationship with these people, and that was how Jesus Christ came to be born. So he gave us these rules and the religion and the ways that we could interact with Him and have a relationship with God. But when Jesus Christ came, He finalized that. Tony was saying earlier that the veil, so there was a veil in the temple that separated the people from God's presence. And when Jesus was crucified, the veil was torn from the top to the bottom, because it wasn't done by humans. It was torn from the top to the bottom. And so now we can enter into God's presence anywhere. Jerusalem, everyone's fighting over Jerusalem. It doesn't matter anymore because of Jesus' sacrifice, there isn't a most holy place. It's within us. Everything that the Old Testament about is a physical reality on this earth. But in the book of Hebrews tells us that was a shadow of the spiritual reality. So I know some people get really excited. I study Hebrew. I love reading the Bible in Hebrew. But at the same time, a lot of those things are the former things that have been replaced by the spiritual reality. So we don't need to rebuild the temple, because we are the temple now. When you have a relationship with God through Jesus Christ, you are the temple. So a lot of this fighting is taking place right now over a physical thing that has been superseded by the spiritual reality. So I know a lot of Christians love to support Israel, and it is a good thing to support Israel. But I also think that in Jesus, where the big picture is that in Jesus we don't we don't need to we don't want to focus on the physical realities anymore.
Focus on the Creator. He says it's going to be a time where my people are going to worship me in spirit and truth. You know, there's no buildings, man. Jesus is saying, hey, the buildings is not where it's at. It's you are the building. These 5 people is the church right here. There's no building on the internet at this point, but we are connected because our Savior is the head, and we are just different functions. You know, so yeah, man, that's I love my wife when she breaks it down so clearly. I always want to try to interpret for her because sometimes it goes in my head, and I'm like, wait a second, I think she did just fine.
Yeah, she did.
That's awesome. I feel like that makes a lot of sense to me in another way where we are referred to as the church now, right? Like the people.
Yes.
It's not like a building anymore. Like
No.
so it's not a.
Now, we need a building. Air conditioning helps, especially in Phoenix.
Yeah.
I want to be in a building. You know, praise the Lord.
But it's always good to go to a church and fellowship with people that are grounded in God, you know, and you get, and it's a good thing, you know, but you don't always have to be in church, you know. You have,
Right.
I mean, you have to go out and plant a seed somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, plant a
It's
seed.
a meeting place. It's a meeting place. We
Yeah.
make it bigger than what it is. Like I want to have like a hookah lounge that closed down, that's all spray painted everywhere, and I want our church to meet in there, and you know, and all throughout the week, just having people doing different functions. You know what I mean? But our church being there as a group twice a week, and then throughout the week, just doing functions, man, live music or whatever. I like to have a cover band in there, some oldies, some rock and roll, country music. You know what I mean? If there's not people smoking outside, then I missed it, because I want everyone to come and be free and be loved. You know, be loved where they're at. You know.
Yeah. For sure.
I don't encourage smoking. That's bad. But I'm just saying, hey, the Lord's not looking at your smoke. He's looking at your heart. And you know what I mean? If you don't stop smoking, you're going to have a bad heart.
That's for sure.
You know, I know all this is biblical and it's written, right? My husband showed me a picture of Jerusalem and how the Gaza Strip, it's so small. You think that by now in this day and age, but I know, you guys, I know it's written in the Bible. I know that this is a spiritual war or religious. How did they call it?
The what?
Religious war? Or what is this type of war? It's not
Holy War.
Holy war. There you go.
Yeah,
So he was showing me like Jerusalem though, right? And then he shows me that little piece of Gaza Strip. You would think after all these years that they would have already taken over that part.
Yeah.
But that's not the way it worked. Well, that's not the way it was written, right?
No, that's a question, I think.
I think it's a question. I don't know.
You get a question, Denise.
But all I know is that it's a little piece of land.
So currently the nation of Israel, there's 2 people groups who live in the nation of Israel. The country is called Israel, but there are both Israelis and Palestinians. So and the Palestinians live in there's the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. And that's just the 2 parts of land that have been set aside. And this is, you know, we have like the United Nations and the peacekeeping. Like it's been war. It's been pretty much constantly political tension for 70, 80 years now. So there are like the UN and everyone's trying to keep peace. But yeah, a friend of mine was just saying that the other day that the West Bank is the biggest part. So the Jordan, you know, we in the Bible we read about the Jordan River crossing the Israel after they came out of Egypt. They crossed into the Jordan River. They crossed across the Jordan River, and that was when they entered into the Promised Land. The Promised Land was across the Jordan River. Moses was not allowed to enter into the Promised Land, but God said you can look at it. And what was the land that he looked at? He stood right across the river. So the West Bank, which is currently not occupied by Israelis, it's occupied by the Palestinians. That West Bank, that's the land that Moses was looking at when that was part of the Promised Land. So that is the Israel's perspective, is they want all of that land to be under Israeli occupation. Currently, it's not. The Palestinians are still occupied, are still living in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip.
Got it. Okay.
But it's really because we're not, you know, in today's time, they're not. I mean, Israel, I'm sure, would have loved to have come in with their military and taken that over, but the human rights organizations were saying, no, you can't.
Yeah. It's just a different time for sure. Yeah, and I noticed, I really, even though I grew up in church and have heard bits and pieces of this over the years, like it's a lot of it's political now too, like we were just saying, and I saw some like protests in different areas of the world, and it was kind of shocking to me. Maybe I'm out of the loop, but I didn't realize there was like a protest in New York City. I'm sure there's probably several, and even in Australia, I believe, Palestinian protests that, and just this particular group of people there. I'm not saying all Palestinian people were doing this whatsoever, but they were really chanting some very like anti-Semitic, hateful words.
I remember that. Yeah.
Like I was kind of blown away, thinking like, wow, that's in Australia, like completely separated from that area, but I guess people are spread out all over the world now, right?
Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier about the guy that owns the store over here, man. He has so much hatred for Israel. He's a Palestinian, and he just wants to kill them all. That's what he just.
And I want to make sure,
allegedly,
I want to make sure and extend love and compassion, to Palestinian people as well. And like, we want
everybody in general, man. Everybody in general, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about this world now is you get a lot of countries that some have dictators and people want to control the world because of resources and all this other stuff, which, put God first and foremost. And, I think this world would be a lot better place, but but some people believe in God, some people don't. And then you got your different religions and stuff like that. But, it's a trip. It's definitely, it's not a good thing, man. One good thing that I heard from the news that I was watching is the family was lost, the mother and the father, but they saved their baby twins. They were able to put them in a spot where they didn't find them, but the people that came in after, they found them, which is a blessing that at least they survived, and they could be a blessing, but then, it's like, they're young. So I'm sure they would adapt to it, because they were like 10 months, I think. Yeah.
I just
Preston said, "Move the people out, and you lose the Temple Mount." Is that the battle over the Temple Mount? There's some beef going on.
Oh,
Okay. So the history of Israel, they built a temple. David wanted to build the temple, and God said, "No, you've been your hands are too dirty. Your son will build the temple." So Solomon built the first temple, and that got destroyed. And when the
Romans,
they were taken to Babylon.
70 AD.
586 BC.
586. Okay.
They were taken to captive into exile in Babylon, and then they were allowed to. The Babylonians got taken over by the Persians, and the Persians said, "Go back and rebuild your temple." So that's called the Second Temple. The whole period when Jesus was alive is referred to as the period, and then it was in the 70 AD that the Romans destroyed that one. So you'll hear people talk about the Third Temple, rebuilding it was destroyed. The second one was destroyed in 70 AD, and I'm not extremely familiar with all of the Bible prophecy around this, but there are people, a lot of people, they've made it their mission to establish this third temple in Jerusalem. They have, from what I hear, there's people whose DNA goes back to Aaron, the priest Aaron, their DNA. So they are descendants of Aaron, and they have been raised. They are ready to perform the rites to dedicate this third temple. And that's what that mount is. It's the holy spot. It's currently under Palestinian control, under Muslim control. And so that's what the Jewish people would like to get control over that spot, and they can pitch tent and perform all of the dedication rites, and then the third temple will be enacted.
Okay. Is that that has something to do with how is it called? The wall of the Wailing Wall? Is that what?
The Wailing
Yeah,
Wall,
that's that big wall. Yeah, yeah.
And that's like a barrier, right? Like somewhat like where they can't go beyond, Jews can't go beyond that, or
so yeah, that's part of the second temple. When it was destroyed by the Romans, that one wall remained.
okay.
So that's been considered a holy spot. That's where Jews, ever since then, there have been Jewish people making pilgrimages there to pray along, because that's all that remains of the temple. But this is people wanting to rebuild, reestablish.
Oh.
So it would be called the third temple.
Right. Okay, that's so interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, so for like I said, keep main things the main things. For our perspective, from our corner, because I don't want to get anyone else in trouble on the channel, but the focus is on the wrong thing, guys. We should be focusing on the Messiah who came and died for our sins and rose from the dead. We focus on him. Focus on him. And pray for everything else. You know, when we have church, I heard a guy named Francis Chan. We're gonna get a chance to meet him. When we do church, Francis Chan was talking about how he used to focus on making sure everyone in the church was comfortable and make sure that he did a good job. He did all this preparation, and then he came to this realization that it wasn't about how well the church service was or how much he influenced the people he was talking to, but was God impressed? Was God pleased? Not what my people in my church are pleased with, the music, childcare, all these details, the food, but was God pleased with my heart during this church service? And I think like it's important for us to pray for folks and to be aware of our social things and countries going to battle, but God has to be pleased with us. Was I pleasing to you, God, the way I'm living today myself? Are you pleased with my prayers? Are you pleased with how I conduct myself? Start right here with God, Jesus Christ, and then that can flow over to the rest of what's going on the planet. So I'm trying to make it my plan to make sure that God sees my heart, God's pleased with me personally, not what I talk about, not how clear I am, what I do necessarily to help people, but in my heart, it's God pleased with my heart and everything I do. And I think I'll be able to help people better like
That's what he looks at. You're right. I want to show you this T-shirt I picked up the other day, and it says it all right here. Look at
love all and let God sort it out.
right there, and it's what's that? Can you see the
Luke 6:27 through 28? Bingo.
Yeah.
Amen. House. That's dope, man.
I like that.
Right.
They used to say, "Kill
Love them all and let God sort them out." You know.
Fix that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Good stuff, guys. Woo. Thank you.
That's
Linda,
awesome.
share.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes.
Dr. Paleo. That's
Thank you,
cool.
Dr. Paleo.
Yeah.
What a blessing to have you guys here.
Nice meeting you.
Yes.
Nice
to meet
meeting you.
Thank you. Finally. Yeah. That's right. So
I think I just lost my spot, House.
No.
Okay.
That's right. I just want to thank you guys, everyone on the panel, obviously, but, everyone that we just.
Dr. Paleo, can you have Tony wash the dishes tonight, please?
You know what?
Oh, no.
Our youngest daughter, we homeschool, and she has dyslexia, and she doesn't always like to do her lessons. So this morning, how I motivated, it was her turn to do the dishes, and I said, "You do a good job on your lesson, and you don't have to. I'll do the dishes." And she did a great job.
My kids
All right.
Genetic.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I appreciate the mom tip there. I'm going to have to use that one.
Yeah.
All right.
That's right.
I killed the potatoes the other day. I was telling them how awful that felt.
No. You want to hear the dishes?
No, I didn't show it. I did smiling.
We want to hear the dishes get washed.
Do it with a smile. That's right. I just, regardless of everybody's beliefs that's either in here now or that watches the playback, I just want to extend my love and appreciation. And I know everyone here does too. So,
Yes.
just know that regardless of how everybody believes, feels, worships, I mean, we're just expressing our own individual, beliefs. So just know that going forward, it's no pressure anybody's putting on you, anything like that. But this is a pretty cool little, some history.
There's no pressure at all.
Yeah.
Get on.
Right. You're dispatcher right now. That's
I feel always when you're on, there's no pressure when you're on pasture. There's no pressure.
Thank you, Lord.
Hey, I get off and my cheeks are hurting right here because I laugh so much.
That's right. That's what we should be doing, right? Okay, I feel kind of weird showing this now because I'm like,
The nightgown.
no.
Me and Hal are still wondering if you're going to show that. Like, you know what?
Hey, I'm not wondering. I didn't say that.
Here's my twisted sense of humor. So you guys, give me grace because I saw this story earlier, and I'm trying to God's working on my heart with my neighbor situation.
Yeah.
And I saw this video that came up about a neighbor that got caught doing something ornery, and I just wanted to play a little bit of this video I saw, and let's see who the finger points to on the guilty party. Can you guys let me know what you think, okay? Let's see. Give me just a minute.
This woman says she woke up to a strange scene in her driveway. Not only were the tires of her vehicle slashed, but lying next to one of them was a severed finger.
Literally been laughing all day because if I don't, I think I might cry.
Francesca Wickoff is a former volunteer firefighter and EMT, so she wasn't too grossed out by the sight of a bloody appendage. She seems to have found humor in the ordeal.
You would think if you're gonna go to the hospital, especially if you just sever your finger off, that you would take said finger with you.
So what happened? According to Francesca, she got into a fight with a neighbor the day before. She believes that he cut off his finger while in the act of vandalizing her car. She says a trail of blood.
Oh, I mean, I think the finger points to the neighbor for sure.
Right.
But yeah.
Hey, they got his fingerprints right there. One of his fingerprints, right?
They did. So that, if you guys want to check that person out, that video belongs to Missing People Case on TikTok. But I was just laughing when I saw it. Not that, he cut his finger off, but he literally left his fingerprint.
Yeah.
So yeah, be nice to your neighbors.
Wow, what a warning. That's a public service warning. Yeah.
I don't know what the doctor said when he showed up with no finger.
Where is it?
Hospital.
Yeah, waiting for that video.
And that has to be painful. But he didn't have a good grip on the knife, and when he went like this, the knife went through, and that's what happened. Yeah.
Don't be ornery. Don't be doing mean things to neighbors. Right. So I was just, I know, like I said, that's probably a little twisted sense of humor, but I'm just trying to lighten up the mood. I know, right?
It's cringy.
Going into this next week, does anyone have anything exciting coming up? How about over church service, Pastor Tony and
I'm going to the Cowboy Charger game on the 16th.
Look at you.
Oh,
at the SoFi Stadium. I haven't been there, so it's gonna be.
Geez. You're gonna have to get some.
Huh?
You're gonna have to film some of that and get some pictures.
Definitely.
Well, hey, hopefully they win, huh?
No, they will.
Yeah.
they are gonna win. No, that's what with the Chargers. It's bittersweet because my brother that passed away a couple of years ago was a Charger fan to the fullest, right? And yeah, when it comes to the Chargers, I'm just like, you know what? I'm good with whoever wins that game. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I'll definitely film.
That's right. That'll be a good one. I do remember you telling me that about your brother. So either way, it'll be a good experience for you.
And my husband just told me about it yesterday. So I'm like, wait, what? I seen something on my mail, and I was like, this must be just like a scam or something. And I brought it up to him. He's like, oh no, I got you tickets. I'm like, what? Right now?
Actually, the Steelers are going to be playing there too against the Raiders this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't make it, but yeah, I still root for my team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta hold it down, right? All right. House, you have anything coming up?
Actually, I've been gonna work on my car some more. The neighbor down the street, we're working on his car. He bought another car, so we're working on that one. We're gonna finish that one up, and then I'm gonna have him paint my car.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw a little bit different look to it.
All
So
right.
Throw one of these on the back.
Oh heck no! You know what I was gonna? The thing I was gonna do is the top's gonna be it's gonna be all metallic, right? It's gonna have flake on it, but the top's gonna be a candy gold, and with probably a little bit of brown, and then the bottom, I'm gonna go with the candy gold with some black, because black and yellow, black and gold, that's the colors for the Steelers,
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. So we're talking about it, because we're still gonna finish his car though. But other than that, spend time with my grandkids, like I always do. Go to church. We have a anniversary at our church next Sunday, so we're gonna have a big old potluck, and everybody's gonna get together, and there are gonna be games and stuff for the kids and stuff like that. Yeah. You know what's a blessing is I've been praying for this for a long time. And it hasn't happened. But this weekend I was at church and I was sitting there, and all of a sudden here comes my daughter and my son-in-law and my 4 grandchildren into the church. I says, man, I was blessed.
That felt good. Yeah.
I was blessed because I've been praying on that for a minute.
That's
Praying on that for a minute.
right.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. Charlie says Steelers have a bye week. Okay. So the bye
No, that's awesome, brother. Man, yeah.
Okay.
What a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
You see walking into church, man.
But you know what? This church that I go to, I was the first one that went there. And now my sister's going, my other brother, my sister-in-law, their kids, and now my family start, because I always tell my family, but you know what, like my family sees how I was before, and they see me like, oh, I remember he used to drink and he used to be this way and that. No, I'm changed. God changed me, and I'm different. I go to church. I love church, man. I love church. And it's a blessing.
Yeah, that is cool, man.
It's a blessing, because you know what, we got to give ourselves to God, man, and that's 100%. And some people don't believe in it. But that's okay, but I know that when I'm gonna die, I know where I'm gonna go,
Yeah.
But like I says, there is a God, man. There is a God. He created everything, But and that's what I believe in, and I'm thankful to God, thankful.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. My bad, Cholo. I seen that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for being here, everyone. Shout out to you guys always for showing up. Denise, House of Tattoos, for the Pastor Tony, Doctor. Hello, it's nice to finally meet you. This was a
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys ever have a crush on a teacher? I married mine. He was my tutor. He was my tutor when we were in seminary, when we graduated. I was failing miserably, and she tutored me in Hebrew and Greek. Can you say that word again slowly, girl?
Wow. Say it again.
Following through. So next Tuesday, 6:30, same time. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Cholo Trucker.
Hey, thank you. Everybody have a blessed week. God bless you guys all, man. Let's pray for everybody that everywhere in this world, actually, basically. Leave not one stone unturned, basically.
All over the world, prayers. Yeah. Okay, guys, much love. Until next week, we will see you then.
Thanks.
Buenas noches.
Love you guys.